Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I'm live in San Francisco, California. I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And down in LA is Jon Reed. What's up, man?
How's it going, dude?
It's going good.
It's gifted night.
Yeah, it was a pretty damn good night of TV, and I was very surprised with a show that I wasn't sure about was going to get to this point. Was The Gifted. And I really like the episode title, by the way, tonight. It's a damn good punk rock band, and eXploited.
Yep.
And it actually fit with the episode, and so much happened. And I text you when it ended because you were like, "The ending, oh my god!" And I was like, "Where was that all season?"
I hope that this isn't just a show that is going to show up for premieres and finales. You know that those shows out there that are like have really good premieres or really good finales, and then everything in between, like there's just little moments here and there that are okay. I hope that this isn't one of those shows, but right now it's one of those shows. So I hope that they carry this into the last 3 episodes, and that all of the last 3 episodes, when it comes back after the break, are like this week after week after week.
I could not agree more. And Fox is so guilty of that, and they are doing their stupid scheduling thing. Okay, this is dumb. They already had a break, and it's a shortened season. They've already taken 1 break, and then they're taking not a month, but 3 weeks off to do 3 more episodes. That makes no sense to me at all. I understand the holidays. Do you think there was like a delay with this or something, John? Because it feels like maybe it should have started sooner, and they could have just ended it before the year.
If they had done like an episode this week and then an episode next week and then like a 2-part finale right before Christmas and then just end it, I feel like that would have been stronger. So there must have been some sort of shooting delay. I would imagine that they would have wanted to get this all done before the holidays, but I don't know. It does seem very weird. It's very BBC of them.
Oh my God. Yes. Thank you. Because you want to have a show in people's consciousness, and they're gonna, the holidays are distracting, and they're gonna forget what day was it on again, and I missed that episode. It's in my DVR, I'll get around to it someday. And then you just never do. And if this was like the 3rd or 4th season, that's understandable, but you are a new show trying to get traction, and this is,
and it's a bubble show. I mean, it's a show that's definitely on the verge of, I think it's probably going to get picked up again. If it hasn't already, I haven't really kept it, but I feel like it's one of those shows that they will invest in another season. It was good enough for a network to do, but it's not like a runaway hit or anything. Like they very well could have screwed themselves up with these 2 breaks, if it does get canceled. I think that the scheduling could be an issue.
Yeah, I was at the salon Christmas party last night, and everybody was, hit me up. We were talking TV shows over our wonderful dinner at Original Joe's, and everybody, to a man and woman, these are all hairdressers and their husbands and wives, all were kind of meh on The Gifted, but they were all watching it, which is good. I was surprised to hear that pretty much everybody at our table, it was a huge table, watched The Gifted. So
can I ask you about that? Because the people that I've found that are watching this that aren't just straight up X-Men fan or comic book fans, they're watching it because of the political message in the show. And I did not expect that. Like a lot of just the casuals are like, oh, I like that it has a message. I like that it deals with like real things. And like, I was like, that's interesting. Cause like, yes, that's very much there. And they definitely leaned into it on this episode quite a bit, but it was never, to me, it's just like something else that's in the show. It's not at all like, I like the mythology of it, right? Like I like that they're digging into the X-Men universe, that these characters are, it's a very character driven thing to me. So to hear that people are sticking with it, sticking with this very procedurally, templated like show because they like the social message behind it is so like not what I expected to hear. But like if that's what's keeping them, great. Like I see why you have that in the story then,
But it's such a and they're new, they're normies. Okay, so because the message in this show is racism and bigotry is bad. Right. Yes, we know. And it's also a message that Bryan Singer has used in all of his X-Men films. So, yes. And so you and I have seen all these, and it's to me, when I heard it from the show, I was like, God dang it, can we go somewhere else with the X-Men, please? Like into space or something. Yes, it's always going to be there, but for it to, it was never always on the forefront in the comic. Okay. So what this show did directionally, which was good, was finally show evil mutants, not just ones that were forced to be evil. You know what I mean? Which we'll get to. But that's surprising to hear because it's such
I
a
was wondering if you had heard that.
I mean, of course it's bad, and I think it's actually dealt with pretty cool. You know, I don't like overly political.
No, me neither.
But I think it's dealt with pretty well in the context of this show. That's surprising to hear. And I'm in a hyper political city, which would they love to like, hey, please ask me about my politics. That's what every every San Franciscan wears, or a button. But we actually get
a political campaign to start off this episode.
Yes, we do.
With Stacy / Esme, maybe, or one of the cuckoos.
One of the cuckoos.
But yeah, she's going by Stacy, and she's working on a political campaign for somebody. What do we get? I forget what his politics were at the very beginning. Was he pro-mutant or anti-mutant?
Anti-mutant, pro-human rights. This is a war that we're going to fight, and blah blah blah. And you know, I think they were talking about mutant criminals mainly. So focusing on the criminals, but blaming the entire, all of mutants. So hashtag not all mutants. But yeah, it was just a political thing, which is again, now that we're getting a year past the election, it's like, but it made sense, and it was cool because I wasn't sure what the hell was going on. I was like, because I went back and it didn't say it was a flashback. So, and because I know the cuckoos are triplets, I thought it was another cuckoo at first. So I didn't realize it was a flashback until they came to the next scene and it said, 15 years later, which is a long time, by the way. So
yes, it is. Sorry, from the comments, Mind Morph just said they liked the first few episodes, but then it got a bit crowded with actors too quickly. I also think that's especially because they did a pretty good job of like honing in on the original like the core cast. The way they expanded it did feel sloppy. And I wish they had just stayed with the core, like 4 or 5 people from the underground, and then the Strucker family, and then everyone else was just ancillary for this first season. I think that would have been smarter because you've got all the Sentinel Services people, all the Hounds, all of that, right? So I think you're right. The thing though is that if it's done well, you can expand out quickly, like Game of Thrones, right? Like that's tons of characters and that expanded out quickly. So I don't know. I feel like there's a way to do it. This one just did it kind of sloppily. Like because it had to take time to add characters in and tell us who these characters were, it slowed down the pace of the storytelling, and it got us to that point where only the first couple episodes and then the finale really hit hard. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too, and that's the problem you have when you have it's an on the run, like Under Siege / on the run TV series, but they have this base that nobody knows about. That's gigantic, by the way.
Yes.
And they're bringing in, the other characters, and they're focusing, that's the problem you have when you have this on the run series. You can't do I'm going to focus on a clips episode or on each character like a procedural drama would, which is fine, but we got more focus. I mean, it was all Polaris at first.
Yep.
We don't have a ton of Thunderbird. He's in every episode, but he's always like leading.
The middle stuff, like the kind of forced love connection between Blink and Thunderbird and Dreamer, which really comes to a head in this episode, in a way. But before we get, Jody also said a friend of his doesn't like it because it's on the run from the government premise, which is too much like the 3rd season of Heroes, which I hear that, like, right? Like that's a thing. But first of all, the X-Men came before Heroes, and secondly, I do think that there's an aspect of like execution that's important, right? Like you can tell a superheroes on the run from the government story really, really well and have it be amazing, and you could do it really, really poorly. I think The Gifted is somewhere in the middle, and Heroes was definitely at the poorly end of it. And so, it's hard to combat that kind of sentiment because it's like, yeah, you're right. Like that is what this is. But if you watch it and really like take it in, there's just a little bit more nuance here. It's more about the stories of these people rather than just showing off crazy powers and being hunted. I don't know. So I just felt like this episode particularly showed that it can be like really great. You know, like, yes, it is that they're in jails. They've got the collars. Those collars make the storytelling really easy, right? Like, you can neutralize these guys by putting a collar on them. It's easy. And we've got them in jails, and we're forcing them to be parts of these experiments. And like, we've seen all that shit before, but like, the punches that hit in this episode really fucking hit, like, really well. And yeah, you know, it's late, so I don't want to like dive in on like every single moment, but I do want to talk about some of these. Like, Dreamer is gone. Like, we did see it coming, but the way it happened was like, was crazy.
Yeah, now I kind of thought once he pulled the sidearm out, and I didn't think Blink would go, I was like, oh, she's dead. And I kind of thought they would back off on it, and they didn't. So I was, I hate to say happy to see that they offed somebody, but it gave this show instantly a depth it didn't have before. And it gave real stakes, and it showed Campbell to be a real asshole and a real bad guy. And I thought that was crazy, and it was cool. But I mean, not cool that she died, but you know what I mean? It's, and
story-wise, it hits, and it hits hard.
Totally.
And we had some deaths in the last episode too. Like, I feel like, looking back, the last episode was probably stronger than I gave it credit for. And in a lead into this, or the last two were stronger than I gave it credit. And as a lead into this episode, particularly, they did their job really, really well. We had some stakes. We had some deaths a couple episodes ago, but this week was the way it happened, why it happened, who it's going to affect. I mean, Blink is mourning her death. John's going to be fucking pissed. She was an integral part of the Underground, and that this happened because of some bad decision making. And so, you know, I think this is going to throw Jace, it seems, onto the mutant side potentially, right? Like, it's showing the fact that happened in Dr. Campbell's care, and Jace is trying to uphold the laws, and it's completely illegal. He's going, like, you're going to see the Hounds take on Sentinel services and vice versa potentially now. And I think that's a really big deal. I don't know. I feel like this, just the way that happened and what happened is going to set this show on a whole different course.
It already is. Did you saw the episode from 3 weeks, the one Melissa and I covered? It kind of started with that. It's been solid for the last 3 weeks. So I kind of expected a good episode tonight, and I'm glad we got it. The only I don't know, the Jace thing. Stephen Moyer was actually good in this episode.
I have that in my notes. I said Stephen Moyer is not sucking tonight. Like, this is good. This is a good episode for him.
No, and the whole Esme manipulating everything, it was getting a little annoying that she was doing it so easily. And I know her powers are badass, and she lied like how powerful she is. But the ending justified it so much for me. So when they went out and did that whole thing, that was actually a smart move to go out and, you know, get to Jace's wife, you know, and bring him back down to earth. And that whole scene where she said, like, what are you doing in our girl's name? That was pretty heavy. I was like, ooh, that was good. So
that hit hard too. And you know what? I also loved the moment where, like, you see the Struckers show up, the parents show up at Jace's house, and Kate's got the gun, and you're like, oh, this is not good. Like, this is not going to go well. And then, like, later on in the conversation, she's just like, when you came into my house with your gun and tried to take my kids, and you're just like, poof, like, that whole scene to me was just like perfectly written to where, like, we talked about some clumsy moments in Runaways last hour when we podcasted about the Runaways. Check that out if you didn't see it. This was the opposite of that, right? Like, you had to get the story moment of Jace's wife saying that, like, what are you doing in our daughter's name, right? You had to get to that point, but they did it so well in this. Like, there was nothing clumsy about the two sets of parents sitting down and having a conversation about, like, hey, I used to do the same thing. You're hunting our kids. Well, I'm doing it to protect other kids because of what happened to my kid. And like just how that all connected was so well done. I don't, do you agree? Like,
yeah, I agree. It was a total manipulation by Reed using his powers as a lawyer, you know, who can prosecute people and knows how to frame stories. And that's why Kate was carrying the gun, because like he would be more threatening with it. So we're just going there to talk, and then her bringing that up, and she improvised that obviously, and she saw that that Reed was going a little too hardcore. She saw that Reed made a mistake in the beginning, bringing up their daughter, and she saw the Chase's wife, forgot her name, sorry, close off, like shut down right when they mentioned the daughter, and that's like, and she, you know, she looked over and she's like, oh crap, we're losing them, you know. And this is all stuff we caught visually, like during the conversation. That, yeah, that's really well done. That's Matt Nix at his best, by the way.
It is, and that's why I really am hoping that we see, and like you said, we are seeing a little bit of stuff in between the premiere and the finale. There, you know, the Blink being sick and opening up all the portals into that one road, and then the episode where Blink shows up and, you know, the house she was fostered in, like everyone's dead, and like there were moments of this series that were really great in between the premiere and this episode. Especially the episode you covered with Melissa, I think was also extremely strong. But it does feel like the premieres and these finales are much stronger, like much stronger than as like from beginning to end. This episode like hit every moment, and it's almost like, you know, he writes the premiere and he writes the finale, and then other writers are writing the stories in between. Potentially is happening, and that happened on Joss Whedon shows as well. But it happens across the board. But yeah.
Speaking of stronger, adamantium was mentioned. You know, it was about time, and they got a hell of a lot of it.
And not only did they talk about adamantium and build a whole cell out of it, but they brought up where they got it from.
Yes,
and like that was awesome. Like Weapon X facility. What? Like that's so great, so great.
No, that was cool. And then you know, the Strucker twins using their powers again, and the effects on this one looked badass. I mean, I like those little suits they were in. It just looked like this was a more of expensive episode. And I know effects aren't all money. They're not. They're time. They're mostly time
and decision making. Like what are going to be practical, what are going to be visual. I actually wanted to do this exercise with you. And if there's any other shows that I'm forgetting, let's throw them in there. But I wanted to rank Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Gifted, Runaways, and Legion on how well they represent like powers visually in their show. And just as a caveat, and I'll do mine first, but just as a caveat, Runaways we just talked about, and this episode tonight had a moment that I didn't love visually, so I have to bump it. So originally I had Runaways at the top, but right now I think Legion is probably the best looking show, and then Runaways, and then I'd put Gifted, and then Flash, and then Legends of Tomorrow. Is probably. Are there any other shows you can think of that kind of have powers in this sort of way
that we cover or watch? That
I mean, I know Gotham
on television. No, I think Legion was by far the best. I agree with your list. Absolutely. Runaways is next, and then the Gifted. The Flash, though, you can't bag on them because they throw in tons of effects.
They do lots of effects.
Such a tight schedule. And so, it's forgivable. It totally is forgivable, and it's fun to watch. I mean, just seeing that stuff. I mean, maybe when we get 10 years down the road, we'll be jaded and start complaining about it. But
Jody said Supergirl doesn't count. So let me just explain. I did shows specifically that were team based. So Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Gifted, they're all like ensembles, whereas Supergirl is Supergirl, right? I guess the Flash is, I think of Team Flash, but I guess they have Team Supergirl. So, I mean, I would just throw Supergirl probably at the bottom just because the flying looks so bad and they don't even use as many effects as they do in Legends and the Flash. But I didn't include it. I probably should have.
Yeah, and they're on a tighter budget even than Flash and Arrow. I know that for a fact. Yeah, poor Supergirl gets dissed. By us. Dennis loves that show.
Dennis, it's his favorite. He would have that above Legion if he could.
He would.
No, I don't know.
Yeah. The Prince of Darkness loves Supergirl. I know he's not watching, so we can talk shit about him. So let's, that the whole, okay, for one, the way that episode set up, the whole plan and everything, it would seem like a stupid plan, but the Cuckoo's manipulating it. Their need to be together. That's something that was conveyed so well in the last 3 episodes. And this is a character who came in late. You're like, what is this interloper doing, taking over our show and kicking ass? But that's what Esme did. Esme is evil, manipulative. I don't like her, and she's also the best character in the show now. And that ending, dude, I mean, was phenomenal. That it's almost Rogue One. Like, I don't know how good the episode was because the ending was so great that it just elevated the entire episode. It was okay. So it was
good. I know. I thought about that too. I was like, did it overtake it? But no, like like we said, the discussion, like the Stephen Moyer, Jace, Kate, like the Struckers versus Turner's, Agent Turner, right? Yeah, the Struckers versus Turner's conversation was amazing, and the kind of planning going on in the background. Some of the characters were relegated, but that moment of Dreamer's death was amazing. The way that they've tied all this stuff in and created discussion points on it, like the stuff with Esme is fantastic. Seeing the 3 cuckoos come together at the end is amazing, but there's supposed to be 5, so I wonder which 3 they're picking. And second of all, are they working for Emma? Are they working for the Hellfire Club? Are they working for anybody? Like, what is going on? Are they working for the Senators still? Like, there's so many cool questions that come out of what's going on here. So I don't know. I think that this is pretty strong.
What do you think about that? It's great. Well, I think there is 2 more that are come in, and they save that for later because, you know, all the people who haven't read X-Men comics will think just on that alone was amazing. Wait till you get 2 more, and then you find the differences and stuff. But that, oh my God, I love that ending so much. And it's for one, they're like killing people, like, and guys offing themselves. It felt, you know what it felt like? The better points of a Singer X-Men movie. At that point, it did, because for one, Singer loves to kill government agents. Like the body pile of government agents from Singer movies is like Conan-esque. I mean, Conan the Barbarian, not Conan O'Brien. But yeah,
from someone with Singer's political views that, you know, he loves the government here. It's crazy that he's just offing government agents in all of his movies and TV shows. Sorry to get political. Not really. Sorry, not so.
We can pick out Singer. Yeah. He's a little bit of trouble right now, and I think his days at Fox, I don't think they are done. They are over.
Yeah, give it to Matt Nix. I'm cool with that. Turn it over to Matt Nix now, and you know, find someone else.
Matt Nix and Doherty from Legion.
Is that Mike Doherty doing that?
The guy from Fargo? Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the guy I think should take over American Gods, by the way.
Not bad.
Yeah. But no, it's that was such a solid ending. Like, I got excited for that. I'm like, okay, I'm into the show now. And right after, I was just talking with a bunch of people going, man, I don't know if we're going to, you know, I don't know if it's going to make 2nd season, blah, 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 at the Christmas party. But yeah, the Cuckoos were better visually than I thought they'd be too. So
yes. Captain Dorito said, don't know if anyone saw this, but the caption during the ending has the girls labeled as the Frost triplets.
What?
Yeah, I did not notice that. I've got to go back and see that for myself. But that's oh man, if Emma is going to be like even tertiarily involved with this, that makes me so excited. Like, this is like legit,
that's
man.
Great. No,
they're not pulling X-Men punches here. They're legit digging in, you know.
Well, and they said, Matt Nix said that they will address the Magneto. Now, I don't know what this means, but they will address the Magneto Polaris situation. So I think, you know, she'll find out, you know, that'd be a good season ender right there. And I don't care if I see it coming, just to hear it would be rad.
Yes.
And these are the kind of things that keep us into us. And that's why we love Marvel, is the connective tissue of Marvel. And yeah, eventually you're going to have to show us something, but right now Easter eggs will suffice. It's fine. It's cool. You know, Fox, I rag on Fox, but I secretly like Gotham. I know it's a show we don't
pick that back up again. That first season was so horrifically awful that I didn't stick with it.
It's just crazy in a weird way, and it's like set firmly, well, to me anyway, in a mixture of the Tim Burton and the animated series universe. And yeah, there's some really freaking cheesy moments in it. But I you know, we Dennis and I discussed heavily about covering it but our schedules wouldn't allow, or otherwise we would be doing Gotham. Because
yeah, that's the thing, man. Like, so I reached out to Hulu about getting advance notice on Runaways because of the Runaways and Gifted conflict. They both drop at the same time for us here on the West Coast, and I haven't heard back, so I'm gonna have to reach out to them again. But yeah, like, man, it would be nice to get those advanced screeners on some of this stuff so we could cover more shows.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I used to get stuff like that when I owned a comic shop, but
hashtag
not
YouTube
anymore.
goals.
Just a nobody. I know, right? Well, fantastic. It sucks it's taking a break for 3 weeks, but we're not.
Man. Why would you go away, especially after such a strong episode? Such a tease.
Know.
Such a tease.
But we got a lot of stuff coming up, actually. Some stuff is ending, but our next podcast is going to be the season finale of Mr. Robot. It's like,
whoa, the season's already ending?
Season's over this Wednesday.
Like
and then Happy, we're going to do Happy. And then we have our Friday Night Live podcast, which is on Friday night, 8 o'clock Pacific time. And then it cycles through again. So we got Gifted, and actually we just have Runaways next Monday, and there'll be other shows picking up. We're going to be doing the X-Files, and
yeah, after the break, I'm sure we'll be picking up more stuff. In fact, we may need to find a fourth host for some of this.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
keep an eye out for the new guy if we can find one.
Put an ad in Craigslist.
Yeah, Craigslist ad. YouTube post needed.
Those aren't weird. I'll just remember to put it in the right section this time.
Yeah, exactly. Missed connections.
Yeah. Whoops. All right. So all of our links will be in the description below. Yep. Nerdrotic.com is where you find all of our videos and podcasts. John has a Twitter. It's at Jon Reed 16. I have a Twitter. It's at Nerdrotics. John, anything else?
No, just subscribe to us on YouTube. And they're asking if we're going to be reviewing Last Jedi. We will, but it won't be on opening weekend like we normally do, or it won't be on opening night. It'll probably be later in the weekend or early the following week.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, so I decided last minute to get tickets, and they're all freaking sold out. So Dennis is going to go Thursday night. If I go, okay, this is going to sound bad. I usually go to movies with my family. So I got to see if it's cool with my fam that I go without them one night and then go with them probably a couple days later. So it's a possibility. I know John, it's hard for John. It's like Thursday is the worst day for him because he's actually, that's his busy. He won't.
And I really do want to talk about this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll probably do like a little mini interview on Thursday and then talk about it heavily Friday Night Live. How's that? Hopefully you can see it like during the day or something Friday, John, maybe.
Yeah. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, but Thursdays are bad for John.
Yeah, so Thursdays are my tough days.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, may the small folks sing songs of your greatness.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Bye, everybody. See you next week. Or no, see you later. See you soon.
See you in a couple days.
Yeah.
Bye.